So something I want to talk about and really sincere, and how mainstream media fails to talk about is the demographic grooming gangs, and how it's always Pakistani grooming gang, right? What you understand is, well, it's not just Pakistanis, right? They're doing it, right? Even though that's only singular cultures going on, or Muslim grooming gangs, right? It's actually majority, because we are white demographic country, white grooming gangs, right? By the proportional facts of it, right? Doesn't mean I want to blame white people. No. Doesn't mean I want to blame Pakistani people for doing it. No. It's just evil men, abhorrent men that are doing to young women, right? And there are a lot of young women involved with this. White working class, or Asian, working class, or black working class, any other ethnicity working class. Because when I was seeing KFC grooming report, it's really hollowing, because there are so many people that fail to realize that they're blaming Islam for it, which I told you, Islam, if you read it, is against alcohol, drugs, criminal activities, grooming, and just, you know, are in women out there, or basically I'll say raping women, right? Or sleeping around underage women, right? Because that's illegal against the law, right? That's something that people always get called for paedophile, but they don't make protests for it, because they want to protect their own people. It's not their own people don't care about their victims. It's only when those other people look at out there, they're doing it, right? They're doing abhorrent crimes, but it's the white people doing the most, right? So why do white people, right, the working class, some of them who were on the riots last year, right, or last few months, riot for the same thing that white men would be doing on the Preston baby, and it was gay, and maybe there was another guy that probably sexually assaulted a girl, and she thought she was brown, she was Muslim, but it turns out it was Sikh girl. It is no protest for it, because you know why? Because they don't care about the victims. They don't care. Really don't care. I don't care Epstein files. I don't care about Mexican cartel, even though that's not their country, but they don't do protests really. Right? The other countries protest about Mexican cartels, right? They've exploited women, but they don't. I don't have riot. They don't riot, but the only riot when it comes down to brown people or black people grooming young women, right? That's also black people doing grooming. I heard one stat that there was one incident that happened in Bristol. There was a Somali grooming gang, right? Or a man that happened to groom young women, right? Doesn't mean I want to blame the Somali community. No, I don't. Because why would it be? It's stupid, right? I mean, I'm just saying, call out everyone for their, abhorrent crimes against young women, right? Young victims. If you want to care about young victims and, young, children being exploited to this insidious attacks by all these evil men that are just they love women, but they don't really, do they, right? But they just like taking advantage of young women, because they're easy ones to manipulate, right? They couldn't even speak to a real woman, right? These guys are like 40s, 50s, yeah. And the reason why, I think, is because they couldn't even get their own women. So what they did, they had to go underage, because they want easier to control, right? Because young women, the young women are more like, they don't understand about men and stuff. So that's their thinking. They'll just go and groom these people and give them drugs and do assaulting crimes, right? I mean, does the politicians care? Does Rupert Lowe care? No, he doesn't. Right, he doesn't care about his own community. In fact, he lets them actually rape young women into prostitution and doing something worse. I don't care. It's only when round people do it, because they want someone to blame, just so that he makes them civil war. Yeah, just want people divide and conquer, make them divided out there, right? They don't care. Rubilo doesn't care. All these people don't care at the top. If they really care, they could have done when Press the Baby, or when someone raped a brown girl. That turned out to be Sikh, right? That was a white guy that raped a Sikh, that probably sexual assaulted a Sikh girl, and everybody rioted against that, right? Come on, a crime is crime. Any is a crime, right? If there was a Sharia law, by the way, right, I would have been pulled the liver. I would probably executed them. Yeah, I'll probably just send them somewhere up there, right? Up there, yeah, where they can see something entirely in the sky, right? If you know what I mean, if you know, you know, right? They don't care. They don't care. They just care about their own bank balance, yeah. They just care about prioritizing their own little narrative agenda, just to make people divided. Once again, it's never about victims. It's just about to spin out their political agenda. If they really care about political victims, right? And the police fail to investigate because they just think that it's going to offend, it's going to, offend, the white people, right? But what they fail to do is that they know that it was white grooming, but they probably never investigate that because they just don't care. They just never call out for anything. Yeah. The only reason why Pakistani happened is because someone from the community called out for what it is and probably called the police. Yeah. That's my speculation for it, right? And also being honest to you as well. Don't give a get, but I'm just saying what happened in Ordering, disgusting. What happened in what happened in Rotherham, what happened in up north, disgrace. Really disgrace. But there were other areas that actually did it the worst, really. But they never get pressed because all they care about is spinning on a narrative, right? So that means they want to get a little story just to make you feel emotional. It's really upset. That's the UK political press is. And I'm probably just going to be making a video, no comments, right? Just getting comments below because I get lots of trolls saying, where are you talking about that for? You're defending your own community. Yeah, you're making excuses in your community. I'm not making excuses, right? The fact I have to sit here and, explain that I never need to answer for it. I never need to have collective guilt for the whole community, right? For some ill, stupid, evil people doing it, whether it's our community, whether it's their community, whether it's the Pakistani, whether it's Muslims, whether it's Christians, whether it's Jews, everyone involved in it, they're going to be living a very long time in prison, right? Living in, they're not going to have a good time in there. I promise you that one, right? I mean, what more do you want me to say, right? What more do you want to say, right? I mean, I just want to get out of the way before I have to answer every single troll comments in there. Alright? Like and share, subscribe. Well, no. Actually, you can like, share, subscribe to my channel. And don't let these people, fool you anymore because they're not your friends. No one's going to save you. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and fix up yourself if you were doing that. If you were looking at women, right, or looking at little kids with lust, right, you need to fix yourself. I don't care what race or religion or background you are, right? If you because if you don't really care about race or culture, that means you're also justified that your communities can do whatever they want, but their community can't because you're going to call them predators, right? Just call your own community predators and let other people do. And never worry about their own communities doing that because they can take care with it. You can take care with your own people doing it. All right. Bye.